Oh, what a long and winding road Tom Clancy's The Division has taken to get to its closed beta. The expectations that have followed the game's development have gone from, I have never seen anything like this before, to, so this is like Destiny, right? Or even, no game has had graphics like this ever, to, yeah, this looks pretty nice. Now I've played about 20 hours of the closed beta, so let me begin by educating the uninitiated. In this game, you run around a version of Manhattan that will also feature other players running around as they complete missions. You're all trying to kill enemies and find loot so that you can upgrade your character and take on tougher and tougher missions and enemies. So yeah, it sounds a lot like Bungie's hit MMO Light title. It still remains to be seen whether the Division will be able to break the mold that Destiny has set, or even go further. So far, through the beta, the Division feels like it has a shot. Yes, the core of the game is rooted in what Destiny invented, but we have the chance to peek into some key differences. Firstly, you get this large base of operations. What's key about this is, to earn the skills you will eventually use in the game, you must first upgrade the specific areas of your HQ based on what proficiency you choose to improve first. Simply leveling up via mission completions and killing bad guys merely opens up the permission to wear certain level gear, undertake certain activities, and take on new zones. How deep does the base of operations go? We're not too sure based on what we received in the demo, but it definitely leaves me intrigued. The other main difference to Destiny is that the game definitely seems to center around a core narrative regarding this terrorist attack that has crippled New York into a disease-ridden, broken down war zone, and the agency that chooses to defend it. We didn't get much of the story in the beta, only 1 or 2 missions really. Nevertheless, the initial presentation points towards us players taking quite an interesting journey for sure. If they can deliver a robust storyline in a massive game like this, you can count me in on day 1. Like I alluded to earlier, the game isn't a visual masterpiece, at least on consoles, but what The Division does great is immerse the player into this world using an astounding eye for detail. Everything looks and feels one of a kind. Most importantly, everything tells a story. As you trek through many residential areas, you'll notice that the leftover civilians gathered all their trash in piles outside on street corners. And it started to make me think. There wouldn't actually be any more governmental services like trash pickups. And you can tell that it started by just one person leaving their trash on the side of the road, and then another, and then another, and another, until this mound of trash forms over time, and eventually forms all over the city. They told the story with trash. These nods are all over the game's world. It's believable and by far my most favorite aspect of the game. Now this game is a shooter, so it lives and dies by its gunplay mechanics. I'm a bit torn on the shooting actually. I'm somewhere in between it being decent and good, but regardless of that, it's fun. The running and cover mechanics are fine, although running from your HQ to the PvP Dark Zone can be a bothersome chore most of the time, especially since the enemies can spawn so far apart from each other. Just a quick note on guns too. I stuck with auto rifles as my primary weapon the entire time in the beta. My initial level 1 M4 carbine felt no different from my high-end or exotic Catechus that I earned in the Dark Zone. Aside from my higher damage output, it just felt the same. So the weapons definitely feel cookie cutter, and so far Destiny wins that battle. And if you dislike bullet sponge enemies, you may want to be wary of the Division. It can get pretty brutal when you replay story missions on hard mode. In the PvE zone, things get a little bit standard fare. There are story missions, random encounters, small-scale investigations, and collectibles strewn about to collect. The Division's long-term selling point is the PvP area called the Dark Zone. When you venture out into the DZ, you'll notice that you're still running around with other players in the game world, but this time around you have the ability to attack them or them you, but with the penalty of going rogue, which basically puts a crosshair on your character for everyone in the map to see and kill. So I'm torn between the DZ. I've had both fun times and rage-quitting experiences here. The purpose of the Dark Zone is to take on tougher NPC enemies for much better loot than normally found in the PvE area. The issue is, all DZ loot is contaminated by smallpox, so you have to airlift or extract your gear out to cleanse it, which will take you a whole 90 seconds waiting for a chopper to drop in. If you die, or you're killed by another player before extracting, they can take all of your current DZ gear, and even items that you don't have equipped at the moment. That mechanic actually is okay. I take umbrage that the internet is full of assholes, and the Division has created a mode that gives them the opportunity and the benefits to troll and grief other players who just want to find some new gear. This is actually written in the game's DNA, and it has been a major turnoff in quite a few experiences for me. If the PvP was optional, I'd be okay with this mode, but so far it does look like that this is the ultimate endgame for the Division, and a mandatory piece of the game's puzzle. So to get the most out of my character, I am forced into a situation where my experience could be sullied by an internet troll. This may need some serious tweaking on Ubisoft's side, or at least offer more stringent stringent penalties for people who just want to grief others? And what do people who are more introverted and don't have too many games with friends? Because going into the DZ solo is not a recommended style of play. PvP in games like this need to be somewhat friendly to solo players instead of making them easy prey. Overall, I'm sold on The Division. Good graphics, lots of gear, beautiful eye for detail, fun combat, and solid co-op gameplay. I'm more than ready to jump in when this game releases in March. I do want to see less progress halting situations from the Dark Zone, but overall, Ubisoft set up a solid foundation that they can build upon to challenge Destiny as well as many other games in the third-person open world genre.